What's happening, body bags? This is Austin here. Welcome back to another review. I'm your Wednesday host, as always, and yeah, today I'm going to be reviewing one from 2012, and yeah, that is going to be Dracula 3D. Of course, directed by one of my personal favorite directors of all time, and one of the best horror directors of all time, if not the best, Dario Argento. Just love his work from the 70s, 80s, even the early 90s is great, so yeah, I haven't seen really any of his later work besides his film that he did for the Masters of Horror, which was Jennifer, I believe. Which that was all right. So I decided to check this one out because I heard mostly negative things about it, as you kind of hear for with a lot of directors, their later work and stuff like that. Most of them always seem to get negative reviews and stuff like that. So wanted to see for myself with this one. Um, so yeah, the story of the movie, the plot is basically your uh, classic Dracula story. I mean, it's been done over and over and over again, so don't really need to get into that a whole lot, I feel. But yeah, on the surface, this movie actually isn't all that bad. It looks pretty good. Not as good as say other older or classic Argento films, but it's good enough to where it resembles that of an Argento film, and it does have that Argento feel to it for the most part. The score to the movie, which is something that Argento films usually always had. There's just amazing scores to the film. Is kind of just okay. It doesn't really stand out. It's not memorable at all. But it's not that bad either. Not really a complaint. Just the characters in the movie don't really stand out all that much. The acting in the movie isn't the best either. One of the weaker points to the movie, it does star Asia Argento, and she does okay. She's fine in the movie, but it doesn't really seem like she has put really that much effort into this role. Uh, the thing that just kills this movie, it makes it just truly awful, is the CGI in the movie. It's really the worst CGI I've ever seen. I mean, it's really fucking bad. There's just so many scenes in there just don't need to be in there either. There's a shot of this vampire crawling up the castle, and it looks so bad, and it just doesn't need to be there at all. And there's this other scene that there's just with spiders crawling on web, and it's looks terrible, and there's no reason to have that in there whatsoever. Yeah, every visual effect in this movie is just pathetic, and it really, really kills the big moments in this film, because this film relies pretty heavily on CGI. I will say though, the practical gore they use for this movie does look really good, actually. For the most part, again, there's times where they use CGI where again they just didn't need to, and yeah, it just really makes you wonder why that Argento chose to rely so heavily if it looked that bad. I don't think he could possibly. It's possible for that. The thought of him actually looking at the movie and be like, "Oh, that looks good. Let's just send it in." Yeah, there's no way. So, yeah, there's this part with these bugs. I think they're flies. They just look awful. There's part of this vampire gets lit on fire, and it just doesn't even resemble fire in the least bit. It's terrible. That's probably the worst example of it in this movie. It just looks god awful, and obviously the scene that gets talked about the most in this film is the scene with this giant praying mantis that comes. Yeah, it looks really bad. You just can't have a movie where all your big moments rely on CGI, and it just looks terrible. It just ruins all the big moments in this movie. And yeah, and the vampires get stuck with when they get killed off, they just turn into dust and stuff like that, and it just again looks pathetic. And Yeah, that's the biggest thing with this movie, and that's what ruins it. That's what makes it a terrible movie. And yeah, I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it or anything because he's one of my favorite directors. This really is a terrible movie. It's hard to believe that this is the dude who made Suspiria, like in Deep Red and all that. Like it's just so far beneath that. Like it's crazy to think about. But anyways, enough rambling on about all that. I'm going to give Dracula 3D a 3 out of 10. Uh, there's no real reason to watch this movie, even if you're trying to go through Argento's filmography. Just skip this one. It's a complete waste of time. Like it runs like 2 hours long too, and yeah, it easily should have been a half hour shorter. And yeah, it's just a lot of really bad things about this movie. But I guess that does it for my review. And stay tuned for the rest of the awesome reviews for the week, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.